Welcome back to Library's YouTube channel. In today's class we'll be learning how to make this beautiful spiral detail on a dress. It's a very simple tutorial and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So to make this flounce, you just need the measurement of where you're going to place it. In this case, I'm going to be placing it at the front alone. So I need the measurement of my neckline on the front areas. You can place it on your neckline alone, but I want it to come from a little bit of the side like this. Then it's going to go through the armhole area, and then it's going to go to the front and back to the side. So I have around 28 inches in all. So that is what I'm going to use to draft my spiral flounce. So you can either cut it in form of a spiral flounce or you cut it in form of a flare, but cutting it like this will be more economical. It's not going to consume too much of your fabric. So I have drafted my flounce already, and then I put my fabric on fold before drafting this flounce because I want the main fabric and the lining to be cut together. I don't want it to stress me, so that's why I put it on fold. So now if you have interfacing, you can add to this. You can iron your interfacing also before you draft your spiral flounce. It makes the work easier for you. So you just iron your interface on your fabric before you mark out your lines on it, so you can just cut everything out together. So now I'm just putting this pinch so that by the time I cut it out, my lining and my main fabric is still going to be together, and I'll just take it to the sewing machine and sew it easily. And the way I folded this, I made sure that my right side are against each other, right side facing the right side, so that I'm just going to sew on the wrong side directly. So now I'll cut this out. If you don't know how to cut a spiral flounce like this, I already have a detailed tutorial on the channel on how you can cut your spiral. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to need my crinoline to add the spiral effect on it. So whatever size of crinoline that you're going for, this is 2 inches, this is 1 inch. Just make sure that the length of your flounce can accommodate your crinoline perfectly. So this will work for me because the length of this flounce is 4 inches. Okay, so a 2 inches crinoline will work perfectly with it. So now I'm going to cut this out now, and then I'll take it to the sewing machine so that I can sew it together with my crinoline. So this is me cutting this out, and like I said, if you have an interface, this is a doll face fabric, it's not so strong. So if you have like air stay or gum stay or soft stay, anything to just give your fabric some form of strength, to strengthen the fabric, you can add to it. So but for this tutorial, I'm just going to use my fabric bare like this. So I'm cutting out my flounce. So the amount of flounce you need actually depends on the measurement you took on your bodies. Remember, we took around 28 inches measurement, and because we're going to be adding pleatings to this, you cannot use your exact 28 inches. So you can multiply that 28 inches by 2 or 2.5, depending on the amount of fabric you have to work with. Okay, so you just multiply it like that so that you can get your flounce. So I have this now. This is about like 2 of my actual measurement. Okay, so you can see how big this is. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to take this to the sewing machine, and then I'm going to sew my crinoline on it like this. So when you're sewing your crinoline, don't drag it. I also have a tutorial on how you can sew a crinoline, so you don't drag it because it's stretchy, it's elastic. So just sew and then use your hand to guide it all the way through like that. So I'm going to go to the machine and sew this now. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew my crinoline to it, and then I just folded the seam allowance in so that I can top stitch because I want it to relax well. Then after that, you're going to close the opened part on the edge on both sides. Then you flip it over like this. So when you flip it over, this is what you have, and then you give it a good press so that it can relax well for you. So this is what my flounce is looking like now. The next thing I need to do to create that spiral effect is to pleat this. Okay, so I'm going to pleat this to my actual measurement. Remember, the actual measurement I took on my bodies was around 28 inches. So I'm just going to measure this so that I can see what measurement that I have here. Okay, so I have almost 90 inches here, so that's multiplied by 3, so this is going to give me really spiral effect. So now I'm going to go ahead now and pleat this on my sewing machine to the actual size that I'm working with, so you can see this effect that this is giving me. So I'll pleat like this, just your normal way of pleating. Then after pleating this, let me just hold this with my pin. I'll go ahead and pleat the other one also. So I'll continue pleating it like this till I have my 28 inches. So you can see my pleat and you can see the effect that this is giving me. So I'll go ahead now and pleat all of this, then bring it back to show us what we have. Okay, so I've gone ahead to pleat this now, and you can see the effect that the pleating is giving me. Okay, so you can see this spiral effect that we have. So if you want to make yours, you can make it longer than this. I used 4 inches. This is what 4 inches gave me. So if you want it to be longer, just increase the length you used for your flounce. So after doing this now, you're going to bring in your off shoulder pattern or wherever it is you want to place this. Okay, and then you're going to place it in such a way that, you remember I took my measurement from the side like this, so I'm just going to place it like this, and then I will sew. So by the time I sew it, you must have serged all this place. Make sure that this place is neat, that you overlock it with your overlocking machine, or you cover it up with a bias. So after doing that now, you're going to place it like this and sew. So by the time you sew it down, you're going to flip it over and then top stitch on it so that it can relax well. So I'm just going to hold it with my pin. So I'll place it like this, and then after placing it on the side, I'll go over to the neckline area, and then I'm going to sew it on the neckline also. So when I sew it like this, I'm still going to fold it over and then top stitch on it. So I'll take it to the other neckline also, and then back to the side. So I'm just going to hold all of this with pins, and then we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so I've gone ahead to just pin this because I don't want to sew it to these bodies. Okay, so I just pin this down, and you can see what this is giving me. So assuming it's longer, it's just going to fall more than this. So now I'll take this to the mannequin so that we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so this is what the design is looking like. You can see the flounce design that we have here, and you can see how coily this is. So it's a very simple design, and it's really lovely. So this is the full view of what we have. I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.